What happens if this changes everything? What if this moment becomes the beginning of something much bigger? Guys, I don't think we're paying attention to what comes next. We are all so completely distracted by the surface level drama, the hit and runs, the corporate takeovers at Deception, the immediate betrayals that we are missing, the massive tectonic shift happening right beneath the surface. I have a completely different theory about what is truly going on, and it involves a twist that could redefine years of storytelling. We are not just looking at a simple tale of revenge or a marriage falling apart. We are looking at a scenario where the villain we all love to hate might actually be the ultimate victim. What if the darkness we see in a character is not born of malice, but of something entirely out of their control? This is the kind of turning point that shatters everything we thought we knew and forces us to reevaluate every single interaction we have witnessed over the past few months. Let us quickly set up the current board so we know exactly where our chess pieces are standing. Right now, Willow Kane is spiraling into a dark, unrecognizable place. She is desperate, cornered, and acting with a ruthlessness that contradicts her entire history. She has completely alienated Michael Corinthos, the man she once loved and built a life with, by cheating on him and eventually marrying his uncle, Drew Kane. That betrayal destroyed the bond between Michael and Drew, leaving nothing but scorched earth. And where is Drew right now? He is slowly, painfully recovering from his locked-in syndrome, and he is fully convinced that Willow wants him dead to keep him quiet. The trust is entirely gone. Michael is furious, nursing a broken heart and a bruised ego. Drew is vulnerable, terrified, and vengeful, especially after Nina Reeves pushed his wheelchair into the lake. Willow is acting like a cornered animal, clashing with Tracy Quartermaine, pushing Nina into dangerous plots with Jack Brennan, and doing whatever it takes to maintain her grip on power. That is our starting point. But remember, this is merely the launch pad for the absolute chaos that is about to unfold. Let us look at the first potential future. This could lead to an unprecedented, shocking alliance between Michael Corinthos and Drew Kane. I know it sounds almost impossible right now. These two men have zero trust left for one another. The betrayal cut so incredibly deep. Willow did not just break a marriage. She destroyed a family dynamic that took years to build. But sometimes, mutual hatred for a common enemy is the strongest glue in the world. If that happens, we are going to see Michael and Drew sit down in a dimly lit room, put aside their massive egos and deep-seated grudges, and shake hands on one single, chilling objective, taking down Willow Kane. They will realize that individually, they are just victims of her manipulation, but together, they have the power, the resources, and the insider knowledge to completely dismantle her life and expose her secrets. Think about the execution of this alliance. Who benefits? Brooklyn Quartermaine, for one, who is currently scrambling to frame Willow for Jordan Ashford's hit and run, would find herself with two very powerful, albeit secret, allies who want to see Willow fall just as badly as she does. Tracy Quartermaine would absolutely revel in watching Willow's empire crumble, especially after Willow snatched that hospital board seat from under her nose. But who is in grave danger? Willow herself. If Michael uses his vast Corinthos and Quartermaine resources, and Drew uses his intimate knowledge of her current panic and vulnerabilities, they could systematically destroy her. They could strip her of her newly acquired hospital board seat, her freedom, and her family. The story could be heading toward a brutal psychological warfare campaign where Michael and Drew corner her, tracking her every move, waiting for her to make that one fatal mistake. They want to see her locked away, neutralizing the threat she poses to both of them, believing that she is nothing more than a calculated, cold-blooded manipulator. But what if we are looking at this all wrong? Let us explore a second future, one that is completely different and changes the entire board in a heartbeat. What if Michael and Drew's relentless investigation into Willow's crimes leads them to something they never ever expected to find? We all remember the highly emotional storyline where Willow battled severe leukemia and received a life-saving bone marrow transplant from Liesel Obrecht. It was hailed as a medical miracle, a moment of triumph that brought tears to our eyes. But looking ahead, what happens next may be the terrifying revelation that this miracle came with a devastating hidden cost. What if the writers are digging into the past to explain the present? What if the very thing that saved her life is now the thing destroying her mind? Imagine the scene. Michael and Drew are hacking into the General Hospital encrypted archives or bribing a shady clinic administrator to find dirt on Willow. They are looking for financial fraud, evidence of attempted murder against Drew, or proof that she was working with Jack Brennan. Instead, they uncover a suppressed, highly classified medical file. A file that details a severe, incredibly rare neurological complication stemming directly from that exact bone marrow transplant. What if the transplant slowly altered her brain chemistry? What if a creeping, undetected neurological degradation has been warping her personality, stripping away her empathy, her impulse control, and her rationality, causing these extreme, erratic, and ruthless behaviors? This would mean that the Willow who cheated, the Willow who lied, and the Willow who supposedly wanted Drew dead is not the real Willow at all. This changes absolutely everything. Suddenly, Willow is not a cold-blooded, calculating villain. She is a tragic victim of her own failing biology. The bigger consequence may be the immediate, gut-wrenching shift in Michael and Drew. Imagine the horror washing over their faces as they read the medical jargon and realize the truth. Their intense thirst for revenge would instantly evaporate, replaced by a crushing wave of guilt and profound realization. The woman they have been plotting to destroy is actually dying, or at the very least, losing her mind due to a medical anomaly that went completely unchecked. This doesn't just alter a storyline, it completely rewrites Willow's legacy. It forces the two men to confront the fact that they were hunting a sick woman who had no control over the monster she was becoming. It turns a story of vengeance into a story of desperate salvation. Now, let us dive into the third future, which is the most unexpected possibility of them all. If there is a hidden medical file proving Willow's psychological break is due to the transplant, someone had to know about it. Someone had to hide it. There's a chance that this wasn't just a tragic medical oversight, it was a deliberate, malicious cover-up. Who would do that? And why? What if someone discovered this complication years ago and chose to bury the evidence? Maybe they wanted to protect Liesel Obrecht's reputation, ensuring her bone marrow donation was only seen as a heroic act. Or maybe their motives were far more sinister, aiming to slowly dismantle the Quartermain family from the inside out. What if a rogue doctor, or an unseen enemy of the Quartermains and Corinthos families, realized that letting Willow slowly lose her mind would be the perfect weapon? Imagine a shadowy figure, maybe someone connected to the WSB, or a remnant of Jen Sidwell's chaotic network, or even a new player like the mysterious Hudson who just arrived in town, who manipulated her post-op care. In this future, Michael and Drew's alliance pivots entirely. They are no longer hunting Willow. They are hunting the phantom who condemned her to this psychological torture. This path plunges us into a high-stakes medical conspiracy thriller. It forces Michael and Drew to become detectives, tracking down the mastermind who played God with Willow's brain. They would have to navigate a web of lies, potentially pulling in Jason Morgan and Anna Devane to uncover a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of the medical and intelligence communities. If you ask me, guys, the path that feels most likely is the medical twist with the hidden file. I keep coming back to the idea that General Hospital rarely leaves its core beloved heroines in the irredeemable villain category forever. Willow was the moral compass and the heart of the show for a very long time. Having her turn into this ruthless, murderous schemer who wants to silence Drew and destroy everyone around her feels too extreme to just be a simple character evolution. There has to be an underlying, tangible reason for this drastic shift in her moral alignment. The writers have been painting her into a corner where she seems completely unredeemable, which is exactly the setup they use right before dropping a massive exonerating bombshell. The path that makes the most sense is the one where Michael and Drew's revenge plot inadvertently saves her life. It provides the absolute perfect redemption arc for Willow. She cannot be held fully accountable for the pain she has caused if her brain chemistry was literally altered by a hidden medical complication. Furthermore, this is the only logical narrative device powerful enough to repair the shattered relationship between Michael and Drew. If they unite to save the woman they both loved, fighting side by side against a ticking biological clock and a hidden conspiracy, they can finally heal their own deep wound. It is poetic, it is tragic, and it gives every single actor involved some incredibly meaty, Emmy-worthy emotional material to work with. It transforms a toxic love triangle into a powerful story of family, forgiveness, and survival. But let us look beyond that initial discovery. If that happens, what will come after? The next shockwave isn't just about finding the medical file and pointing fingers. If Michael and Drew discover that Willow is suffering from this complication, the race against time officially begins. How do you cure a neurological breakdown caused by a years-old bone marrow transplant? This could lead to a desperate, frantic, global search for a cure. It might require them to track down Liesl Obrecht, who is currently dealing with her own massive WSB trauma and the devastating fallout from Cassius Phaeton's death. What if Liesl is the only medical genius who can synthesize a reversal treatment? They would have to pull her out of her grief and convince her to perform another miracle, knowing that her first attempt is what caused this nightmare. And what if Willow, in her altered, paranoid state, violently refuses the treatment? Because her brain is compromised, she might genuinely believe that Michael and Drew are trying to poison her or finish the job. The long-term fallout would be massive and heartbreaking. We could see Willow locked in a secure medical facility, fighting the demons in her own mind, while her family fights the entire world to save her. Nina Reeves would be completely devastated, adding another layer of intense emotional drama as she realizes her daughter is sick, not cruel. Harrison Chase, who has been defending Willow against Brooklyn's framing plot, would be vindicated but heartbroken. The story could be heading toward a heartbreaking climax where Willow has to lose absolutely everything, including her own sense of self, before she can be rebuilt. The future of Port Charles is wide open, and this medical time bomb is ticking louder every single day. The consequences will ripple through every family, changing the landscape of the show forever.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.